like a traditional podcast, like later on.
Don't you
Oh,
mean like we're live right now?
And we're live. Welcome to
Yo,
episode 36, I believe, of Toonami Squad Sessions Podcast. Tonight we'll be discussing My Hero Academia Heroes Rising. My name is Joshua Matthew, the founder of Toonami Squad.
and,
What up? I'm Steven.
I'm
We screwed
Michael.
up again, ladies and gentlemen. We're off to a great start.
We're the Toonami Squad.
It ain't
Dilly
a podcast unless we mess up the intro.
dilly. Dilly.
Never fails. Welcome,
Um,
welcome.
Well, I'm
Anyway.
Phantom. I run Toonami Squad Gaming Zone.
I'm Steven. I run all the socials.
I'm Sam too. I do the graphics.
My name is Michael. I write Toonami history articles.
And I'm Logan. I don't know what I do even.
Why are you here?
Well,
I go to conventions. I do all kinds of stuff.
yeah,
I'm in the
Very
industry
good.
liaison too. So how about that?
That'll work.
and this is actually episode 37, not 36, so I apologize for that.
We'll just blame Silver and we'll call it a day. Good podcast, everybody. See ya.
Bye, Silver.
We did it. We did it.
Great movie. So, My Hero. Shall we dive into it?
Let's do
Who
it.
wants to go first?
Let's have Sam go first.
Yep, there's Silver right on cue.
Huh.
Don't mind me, just here to annoy my squad mates.
Hi, Silver.
Hi ho, Silver.
Anyway, Sam, want to lead off?
Sam?
Is he even
Sam?
here?
I think he's here.
Sam, have you turned into the Invisible Man?
Can you all hear me? Can you all
Now
hear
we
me?
can.
Now we can.
Oh. Anyway, I was trying to say, just a giant disclaimer. There will be spoilers. Yet again.
I mean, if you haven't seen it
was
by
over
now-
2 weeks.
yeah.
Also,
If you haven't seen it by now, you're probably not going to see it till the Blu-ray.
I mean,
Unfortunately.
opening night, me and Sam just like talked like
we
the
were the
whole night,
first
like,
ones to see it.
holy crap, we have to see this movie.
Like we
Yeah.
were the first ones to see it, and we held our tongues for like a long time.
Yeah.
I saw it 2 times, and I'm kind of actually starting to forget. One other thing I want to say is that we are going from top to bottom, beginning to end. So the scenes that everyone wants to hear about, that'll be, for the end. Like,
So be patient. We're getting to it.
So anyway, I guess I should go off first since I was one of the first to see it.
Go ahead.
I for one thought that I came in late because I went to my theater, and I have a real bad tendency to, like, even if the movie starts in like a minute, I feel like I gotta get myself a drink or a snack or something. And like I go to AMC and I freaking love their flatbread, so it's like I want a flatbread, and there's like a 2-minute wait, and I was like, the movie's supposed to start now, crap. And then I run to my theater, and the first thing I see is the car chase scene, and I'm like, crap, did I miss it? And then after the car chase scene, they're on the island. I was like, oh my god, did I miss more than what I thought? But then it was like, no, they flashed back to when they went there. But yeah, going off, I came in and I saw a big old car chase scene with the league and some secret thing in the truck that I assume is the main plot villain. And it was looking to be pretty menacing. And then apparently, from what I heard, that hero who investigates the wreckage, Hawks, apparently
Zeno!
Hell yeah!
Yeah, apparently he's not even in the anime yet, but like he's a real big character in the manga, and I
Really?
read the manga,
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah,
Me
like
neither. That's
so
cool.
so one other thing that was apparently stated was that this movie actually even takes place a bit after the current like space in the anime. Like it actually takes place some time in the manga, which makes some things that you question. Like example, Deku's got like this new like gear where he shoots these air bullets,
Oh,
or like that he's able to casually use 20% like easily, stuff like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's why I also see Hawks, dude. That's what I heard, and a lot of people were saying. But yeah, like first scene, and then getting to the island. You know, one thing I do want to compliment is that compared to the first movie, you see a lot more of you see the whole class, because in the first movie you only saw some of them. Like the others were kind of like sidelined, like only having one scene. So like in this movie, you got to see all of them actually do stuff. And I guess I'll like pass the torch to the next person because I don't want to be talking all night.
Sure, I'll do it since I also saw it on opening night. So yeah, what I was surprised with is how many people were actually in the theater to see this movie. See, I live in the Shore, Central Jersey, which totally exists. Don't let anyone say otherwise. Central Jersey truthers only. Anyway, back to the actual movie. In this area, the only really movies that really sell out a theater that's anime related is Dragon Ball.
Oh, that makes sense.
Makes sense. It's Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I've seen Attack on Titan live action movie, Mob Psycho 100 season 2 premiere in a theater, and every single anime movie besides Dragon Ball, no one showed up. But anytime Dragon Ball was there, full house, packed theater. Even for the first My Hero Academia movie, it wasn't, the theaters were not full. For the second one, but I was very surprised to see a sold out theater. I guess My Hero's really starting to get popular. But anyway, Hawks. We gotta talk about Hawks. Everyone's been going crazy about him. And I love that Zeno is sort of like embraced that, yeah, he's Hawks.
Yeah,
if you know what
like
I mean.
As I mentioned, I'm only going off the Toonami run, so I don't really know much about him.
Yeah,
That's that was
hasn't-
one other. Oh, sorry, Steven.
yeah,
go
like
ahead.
he hasn't really showed up. I don't know exactly when Hawks actually appears. But just from what everyone was saying about Hawks, I was really excited to see Hawks on screen.
What was he in the beginning there? Then I don't remember. His
Yeah,
character.
it was like in a little bit. It was like after the car chase scene. If you know,
Like he's
you probably remember that.
investigating the wreckage.
He's investigating the
Mm.
wreckage, and Endeavor goes to him.
Okay.
I remember
yeah,
that moment, like almost broke Twitter.
Well, and
Yeah,
I
'cause
think,
they
I think it's a
uploaded
good
that clip.
introduction. I think it's
Yeah,
a good
it is.
introduction to him because it gets right to the point of who he is. Like you see him start investigating stuff, and that carries his character through the movie. You don't need to learn that much about him before you're already like, all right, I get what this guy's about.
Yeah, like Hawks just seems like this really chill guy. If you know what I mean.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that line from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's like, he's just this guy, you know.
Yeah.
Ever explain how Endeavor got that scar in his face?
What's that?
Was it ever explained how Endeavor got his scar in his face?
I don't think it was actually.
I don't know.
I actually think you're right. I think that's another thing that wasn't explained.
Yeah,
Kind of
and
furthering evidencing that.
yeah. Anyway, back to the movie. I'm not gonna lie, I was confused when the island came up. I'm like, wait, did I miss something? And then when he explained why they're there, I'm like, oh, that's why. Yeah, I found that interesting. Like, basically, they run an island by themselves. I mean, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, when I first saw the island, I was like, "Oh my god, is this gonna be like a typical anime movie set in the summer?" And blah blah blah. I was like, no, it was like, oh, they're doing hero work, and it just so happens to be on an island.
Yeah, there was no fan service, was there?
Well,
No.
there was, but not the other kind. But we'll get to that later, though. Like,
But I like that. That's kind of what set it apart from the first movie, where it was like, "Hey, we're on summer vacation." With that one, where everybody was on vacation and some thing happened. This one was more of like, okay, we're on like a school internship. It still really fit in with them being in school.
Oh, that was another thing too. The first movie, like the gang was there, but it was like, oh, it was just Deku and All Might there, and then everyone else shows up, and they all had their own reasons. Like, oh, my family has shares in this. It was like, oh, it was like we got like we won a contest. It was like, oh, it was like you easily could have prevented this by making this like a school field trip or something, but no.
Yeah, it was all super convenient that they were all there. At least with this one, it was like, okay, there's a reason for everyone to be there.
True.
And not to mention,
that's very true.
Not to mention too that, like, as I mentioned in the first movie, like, I don't want to say half, but like a good chunk of the, cast of the class wasn't there. Like, they just popped up in like one scene, but they weren't in the movie. Like, while in this one, like, everyone's there, and some people, some of the lesser known students even get a moment to shine. Yet again, we'll get to those later, but like, like that was also nice to see. Literally like 30 minutes into this movie, and I was already saying, yeah, this is better than the first one.
Well, and anyone I think it served the narrative really well by getting the kids separated from all the pro heroes, because at a certain point you have to look at it from the point that the series does, where it's okay, the kids get in trouble and the pros are right there to show up and help them. It's like when are we going to get something that lets them stand alone and shine? And I think that's that's something the movie did really well, was putting them apart and making them far enough apart that it wasn't like they were just going to swoop in and save the day.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they really, throughout the movie, they got their moments. They didn't need the heroes.
Yeah. Anyone else want to say something about the beginning parts or part?
Well, what'd you guys think of when they first got to the island?
First off, what an island!
Okay, hold on. I gotta go off on this one moment, because so when I saw My Hero movie 1, I had to see it 2 times, but not because it was so good I need to see it twice. More like I could barely see it the first time, because there's a difference between the fan of the show and the fan, the My Hero fan. And for the love of God, when I was watching the first movie, almost every second, like, example, when all the characters were showing up for the first time, everyone was like fucking screaming, like fangirling out. Oh my God, it's Tina! Oh my God!
The same thing happened in my theater the first time I saw it. At least for the first movie.
It was like, okay, yeah, we're getting excited, but it was getting so annoying that like they were literally like kind of making it hard to watch, because it's like, oh my God, shut up. It's like, that's why I had to see it again. Luckily for this movie, I didn't have that issue. Like, obviously there were people getting excited, but they were getting excited for the right reasons.
I'll say something that happens. I was gonna say something, but remember, wait, that's later. So
yeah,
it relates to what you just said that happened the first time I saw it, the second movie.
So anyway,
I'll get to it.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit. Can we talk about 9 a little bit?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a really interesting character. I really thought his quirk was quite cool.
Yeah. First off, Johnny Youngbosh. Enough said.
Oh yeah, true.
Perfect. Nailed.
Like, he's cool, but like the one thing that I kind of noted was that like he kind of has this.
Sorry, what was that?
Hello?
We lost him.
Okay, I thought it was me. I thought, did I just go deaf all of a sudden? What happened here? That was odd. Yeah, I guess he cut out there for a second. But yeah, it's interesting because his quirk kind of reminded me, of course, of All for One. Yeah. Of course, I'm sure that was done intentionally. But it was just really interesting.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, how do we drag, the big threat into the movie without, because the problem you run into with these movies, and of course, again, this is one of the things that really comes up towards the end, is, these movies can't mess with the status quo too much. So, you don't want to do something that changes things and then have people watching the series the next week and have to go, well, wait a minute, how did this happen? I didn't see the movie. And especially for those of us in the West, this movie came out in Japan in December. We didn't get it till February. Imagine if something big had happened that changed everything, and then suddenly it's like, we're way behind. So it's like,
That'd be weird.
You can't mess with the status quo too much. So I think using 9 and giving him, effectively a light version of All for One was a smart way to handle it.
All for One Light. That's a good nickname. That's a really good nickname. I think about it. All for One Light, because he basically was All for One Light.
Okay, so kind of sorry for cutting out like that because I'm on my phone and I'm on Wi-Fi, and then my Wi-Fi just decided to die. So then, like, it decided to disconnect me from everything.
Oh wow!
So I'm using data.
Welcome back.
But going back to what I was saying, he kind of had that thing that almost every shonen villain does, which is, this needs to be a world for the strong, where the strong survive and the weak, suffer and blah blah blah. I was like, I've seen this so many times. Like, I just saw Dr. Stone, where he literally had the same, where like Tsukasa literally had the same freaking thing, and it's just like, are you serious? I will say though that the villains in this movie were much better than the last movie. Because the last movie was just a gang of criminals who were just like deciding to, raid a place, and then bull, look, he has support of One for All. It's like, oh boy, but this one actually, was something more.
Yeah, I think this tied into the League of Villains and whatnot, just better in general.
And one other thing I do want to say, because I was watching obviously from the Toonami broadcast of My Hero at the time, there was kind of a mild spoiler because they didn't give the episode where Shigaraki raided. Overhauls, like his prison cell. So, like, I didn't know that he got his hands on the drugs. So it's like, oh boy, Shigaraki got the drugs. It's like,
like I was like that moment. Like, thank God I watched the simulcast because I would have been so lost.
Yeah, actually,
but I wasn't extremely lost. It was only that moment. It was like, oh, okay, I guess he gets.
I get that. Yeah. You're right. That's actually a good point.
Well, that goes back to, like I said, about, it's kind of the reverse in that, you can't mess with the status quo with the movie story, but at the same time, the movie itself isn't going to go out of its way to avoid stuff that they expect that you might have seen in the show.
True.
Yeah, so it's just one of those trade-offs you kind of have to put up with.
Yeah. And then the other, and then his gang was, I guess, better. Like, I like Chimera Man and freaking I forgot their names, but like Slice Hair Woman, I don't know. And the mummy,
I think her name was actually just Slice.
And then the mummy guy was the least interesting. He gets his ass beaten.
I think they're literally named Slice, Mummy, and Chimera. So
Silver.
So if you have to give anything to the movie, that they're naming for the villains, because let's face it, Slice, 9, Mummy, and Chimera, not exactly the most original naming,
but it works.
It's descriptive. I mean, it tells you you know what you're getting, I guess.
Yeah. Anyways, Silver says 9 has the off-brand knockoff version of All for One. Lots for one.
He is. He is a knockoff All for One.
We're gonna start calling them All for One Light.
Also, one other thing I want to explain, I didn't notice this until someone said it. If you look at the doctor that was experimenting on 9,
that's a spoiler. No. That's a spoiler.
That's an anime spoiler?
That's a spoiler.
We got a spoiler alert.
No.
This man's a hero. I applaud you for saving us of a spoiler.
I didn't know. I didn't know that was a manga spoiler.
The manga. The anime hasn't even touched that yet. That's a huge spoiler.
Okay, well, I'll go back on that. Anyway,
we'll come back to that in a few in some episodes later.
Anyway,
from now.
So I guess we should move down in the movie now. We get introduced to the two main plots. The kids.
God bless Katsuma's soul. What a kid.
For me, I kept hearing Mahiro, and because her voice actress is Serval in Kimono Friends, like I kept waiting for that to, just for her to start acting like Serval. It was driving me crazy the whole time.
Like I don't blame you, because like I have that symptom too of hearing one voice actor do one thing, and then whenever he does something else, I still hear that one voice. Like Patrick Seitz, I hear him as Dio, for the first time, and then every other voice he does, I just think of Dio. He's Endeavor. I think of Dio. He's Jiren. I think of Dio. Same with Zach Aguilar.
Aguilar.
Like Aguilar. Like I first like I'm pretty sure I heard him as other voices before, but I hear him as Koichi, and all I think of he's Tanjiro. I think of Koichi. He's Genos, and I didn't really hear Koichi until like one scene where he's really raising his voice high. And
I never made that connection, man. That's really funny that you said that though. So he does all those different voices,
Yeah, and I mean, and that's not to say that you don't want to say typecasting or anything like that. It's like you said, it's one of those things that you get connected to a character, especially if it's a character you like, and then it's just you just hear that no matter what.
Yeah, like a lot of people hear Johnny Young Bosch as Ichigo only.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Bloom's the same way for me. I mean, even with Tom, I hear Roger Smith from Big O because that's my favorite Steve Bloom character, and even above Spike, and so it's like it just sometimes you just latch onto those things. That's not to say anything bad about the voice cast, because frankly the voice cast in this movie was amazing.
Absolutely.
So continuing on, Deku gets like an alert that there's a missing child, and his sister's looking for her. He's like, are you? I forgot his name already. Come with me. We'll take you to your sister. And then here comes his sister. He's like, I caught you. You're too late. You're bad heroes. And it's like, well, damn, just giving him, just make him feel bad. He's doing the best he can. And it was like, I was like, I can't believe we got stuck with you guys. It was like, well, fuck. And then, and then there was like the kids walk away, and then Uraka and Jiro come in, and like I swear this made my theater. Now this was one of those, anime fan moments that I kind of like was like, you serious? She's saying that's like, she said, it's pretty special how Deku you can be or whatever. That made my theater freaking like go wild. Well, not wild, but like, you know what I mean?
No, I gotta admit that I kind of laughed at that. That was kind of clever, I thought.
Oh yeah, like I didn't mean it. Yeah, like obviously it was clever, but like my theater was like, like
they freaked out about it.
Yeah. I don't know. What did you think of the children?
Gotta love the overprotective sister.
Pretty much.
Yeah, they were pretty charming, I thought.
Another cliche.
I mean, it's typical of kids in an anime movie. There's not a whole lot of wide range. You either get kids that you can stand and they actually do something fairly decent and contribute to the plot, other than just being the effectively damsels in distress, to put it in a way, or you just end up with with crap. That's it. You end up with either just terrible characters that you can't stand, or you end up with something that's decent. Like, I don't think there's ever a middle ground.
Not really, yeah.
Burning Extra says the character's name was Slice because they ran out of ideas.
Exactly.
Silver says, I have that problem with Johnny Young Bosch where I either think Ichigo or a Power Ranger, and whenever he pops up, a part of my brain goes, is he going to morph or do Bankai? No, wait, wrong show.
Virtual Nana says, sup. Hey, thanks for joining.
Yeah.
Welcome.
So, and then we cut to the scene where they're like, I guess, FaceTiming their dad. It was like, we can't wait for you to come back from work. It was like, see you soon. And then, boom, one of the villains run over the trucks, and it's like, well, he lasted good. He lasted longer than I thought. That sounds messed up. But then he's still alive. Like, they end up stealing his quirk, and it's like, haha, I can do whatever. And it's like, oh no, I can't because I don't have the right blood type or something. Then it's like, we got it. Well, now we got to get the boy because apparently the boy might have it. And then
an absentee father in an anime, say it isn't so.
They're really checking all the boxes on this one.
Yeah.
Well, at least the father is actually caring and not a piece of garbage like most of them.
Yeah. Thank goodness for once.
One other thing I wanted to know.
Virtual 99 says, I gotta ask a stupid question. Okay, what's your stupid question, Virtual 99?
Well, anyway, and then one funny thing was that and then the next scene is Hawk's investigating that wreckage scene, and then literally 5 feet away from him is Shigaraki looking over him. It's like you literally all you have to do is turn around and there he is. It's like anyone else notice that he was literally looking over him and he wasn't even that far.
All right, so his question was, is more of a Toonami-related question. Why does Tom keep changing to new bodies?
Well, because you're
keep getting destroyed.
You have to ask Tom, but exactly. You got to keep it fresh.
I mean, the last time was basically nothing left. I mean, he was literally.
Yeah, well, it wasn't his choice. It wasn't his choice last time. I don't think.
It was never really his choice.
Well, I mean, he died.
Yeah,
Tom dead. R.I.P. Tom.
Yeah, Tom 5 is long gone.
Yep.
But I mean, he's kind of still exists. He's Tom 6 now, but he still has the same memory.
He exists in our hearts. Tom 5 will be in our hearts forever.
Wouldn't his dead target still be in the forge somewhere?
Technically, yes.
That's morbid.
I can't just wait for a Clyde to just be sweeping the floor in the forge, and then, oh hey, there's a dead body here. Just gonna sweep that off to the side. I seriously want an indent like that now. I know they sometimes do those little indents. That I want that now.
Yeah.
They can make new Clydes in there.
They could.
Anyway,
but yeah, getting back on topic. Getting back on topic.
This is a Toonami discussion. This is my.
We'll save that for the next Toonami Squad, the actual Toonami Squad podcast session.
Yes, getting back on topic. Anyone else want to throw their hat in on this scene of the movie?
Sure. I mean, when what's her name? I have the names up here. Mahoto, left. Katsuma just thanked Deku for just coming. God bless your soul, you precious child.
That's a good response.
I heard one big awe in the crowd. Both times I saw it.
So, what was after this? It's been a while since I saw the movie, so I'm literally trying to go in chronological, and I'm kind of starting to mess up now. I guess it's nighttime or something in the island, and everyone have a feast, and then it's hey Bakugo, you're doing night watch since you didn't do crap in the day. And it's
I mean, that's Bakugo.
Yeah.
That's all you can say. It's Bakugo.
Now one thing I really liked that and this could change. I haven't read the manga, but Bakugo knows about One for All now. But ever since that episode, he's never really brought up. So I like looking in this scene, and Bakugo's just walking by Deku training, and he's looks like you're getting better with One for All. And I was oh, we're not supposed to talk about it. It's and then he's hurry up and master the power so I can have a real fight with you. I was I thought that was nice.
Yeah, I low-key forgot that Bakugo knew about One for All.
Yeah, because it was never season 4 started.
Yeah, they never really brought it back up in season 4.
Which is why I liked it a lot that he actually did bring it up. I was oh yes, keep in mind, audience, Bakugo does know about One for All.
Yep.
And then that was really nice. And then here comes the boy again. I keep forgetting his name. I was
Katsuma.
Oh boy, there's Katsuma. There's a villain, guys. And it's and apparently the sister's quirk, and she can make illusions, and Bakugo knew. And then there goes angry face Bakugo again, all angry at children. literally.
It's on
Nearly threw hands.
This is literally where we are in Toonami.
Literally threw hands, literally almost threw hands with a 13-year-old. Even though they were probably younger.
I mean, he's doing it right now in Toonami, if you're caught up.
Yeah.
Throwing hands at children again.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Don't throw hands at anyone.
Yep.
So then I remember him saying that there's a villain, and then it cut to a completely different scene. But I was trying to remember what that scene was.
It's with destroying the ships and the communication towers, I believe.
Because I know like they cut to the villains again, but like this was before they raided the island.
Mm-hmm.
It was like I guess like it goes into their backstory. I guess it goes into their backstory. I guess I don't know. Like I'm getting all the stuff mixed up. Like I should really probably look up like a. I should look up like a. I should look up like a wiki of this right now or something.
But that's the thing. I'm looking at the wiki and stuff just to kind of follow along and stuff, and it kind of makes me realize that like the plot was a little bit more loose in this movie. I feel like.
I still say it was better than the first one.
I think it was better than the first one, but I still feel like I remember more of the first one. I don't know.
It really comes down to the first half kind of meanders to really get things set up.
Yeah,
but it almost turns into a sort of like slice of life kind of thing, which works in its favor, mainly because it builds up to what you get in the second half that becomes so punchy that it's like, okay, the movie earned this because it didn't waste a lot of time with trying to fit in a bunch of action and then switch back to story. Like it built up the story so much in the first half that it allowed the second half to stand as action.
And I think the movie did a good job of doing that, to be honest. Like I sort of like the interactions with everyone, like how it was a little more chill than what you normally see.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things that it lets you meet like the Islanders and whatnot, and it gave us a feeling of why the kids care about protecting the island.
Like
they really felt like they were there for a reason.
And the Islanders
necessarily cared. You wouldn't care about okay, yeah, it's just a job, but like, I'm going to go help Mr. Whatever with his tractor, and we're going to be down here protecting the beach and all this. Like you got this feeling that they actually cared, so that when you got to the real meat of the movie, they're just their motivations to protect the people were authentic.
Yeah.
Burning Extra says there's an evil bad guy, we have to go punch him.
Hey, do you mind sending me that wiki too, so I can like look at just because I'm like getting all my knowledge
into
and stuff.
the Toonami chat right now. But I was gonna say, dude, I love that old lady, dude.
Yeah,
that old lady is hilarious.
It's been like a while. It's been a while since I saw the movie, so like a lot of my knowledge is getting mixed up, and like I'm trying to go down one by one.
I'm gonna send it to the squad room right now.
That's fine. What was next?
Forgive us. It's been a while.
Cut. Yeah. Well, for me and Steven, definitely, because we literally saw that on opening night.
Yeah, same here.
Week one. Opening day. Saw it again 2 years later. This time subbed.
2 years later.
2 days
in the future.
2 days. This time subbed. So I saw it in both.
I actually saw a really interesting version of the movie. I don't know if any of you have heard of 4DX.
That's like 4K screening.
It's like
it's got motion chairs and like environmental effects and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like water, wind, and all these different things. I never tried it before, so I was like, when I went out of my way to try it on this movie, and it was interesting. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw a Gundam movie with it. It's interesting.
Oh, nice.
I mean, it's and this would be a great movie for it because there's so much environmental action that you get from the quirks and whatnot. It really, I think I can imagine that working really well.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that.
So anyway, the part where we're at now is when the villains come to the island.
Wait, no, not that yet, because then we cut to the next day. Yes, that's when the villains attack, but we still have like a scene before it where like he's having like a heart-to-heart talk with the kid with Mahiro, I think it was. Like, remember the scene where like, Deku's like, I'm going to go do some hero work, and then here's the kid, and he's, saying, oh, I'm sorry for last night, and then they have that talk. It's like, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I remember now.
Yeah.
And that worked out well because Deku can see himself in somebody like Katsuma because, Deku didn't have a quirk at all, but, Katsuma thinks that his quirk is useless. So it's like, it's the exact same kind of relationship that Deku had with All Might. And it's like, hey, this kid wants to be a hero, and I know what he feels like.
Mm-hmm. And then Bakugo's like looking over his shoulder too, while having a popsicle too that melts.
Lilo and Stitch vibes.
I was gonna say,
if you know what I'm talking about. If you know what I'm talking about.
I was gonna say Kingdom Hearts too.
True.
Nah, because the ice cream falls.
What's that? Oh, that part specifically.
It falls.
So yeah, he has that heart-to-heart moment, and then the kid goes to his sister, and he's like, we should really, depend on these heroes, because like dad, because they were talking about their dad or something, and then it's like he's a good hero, and then boom, here come explosions. Mr. Deku's a great hero, and I want to be like him, and then boom, villains show up.
Okay, hold on real quick. I just have to say, how adorable is that he calls him Mr. Deku?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Protect this child at all costs. And it's like that in the sub, too. He calls him Mr. Deku in the sub, too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, God bless you, Katsuma.
Yeah, that's great.
I love this child.
Oh, man.
Silver Absolution says the 4DX screening was amazing. I bet it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like, my local theater doesn't have those kinds of screens. If I want to get that, I got to drive like over half an hour.
Oh yeah, it's I had to drive a bit with myself. Yeah, it's debatable if it's worth it, but I think it's worth it. Maybe try it once at least.
I had to go to LA for it, so and that's
holy
Jesus.
For me.
Oh man!
Believe me, if I hadn't been at Anime Expo, I wouldn't have gone out of my way for it.
So now we're at the point where the villains do start attacking. Like there's a big explosion at the dock, and then oh boy, like there they are on the ship, and then there they are wreaking havoc. And now like this is where everyone has to break up into groups and start doing stuff. And this is where and this isn't just My Hero, but a lot of shonen movies got that 3-act structure of like Act 1, the fight where they lose, Act 2, the round 2 where they lose again, but then Act 3 where they pull a win out of left field.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess we're gonna start with Act 1, the fight where they lose. Obviously, like there's still a bunch of scenes before them, but like you know what I mean. Like pretty much, this is where the action starts.
Well, and the setup for it, with the villains, being able to cut off all the communication, it again goes back to, keeping the pro heroes out of the fight, because if they'd been able to get a call out, we saw, they're not that far out as far as showing up. So, call it contrived, sure, but it thankfully allows the kids to stand alone in their movie again.
I actually thought that was pretty clever. It's kind of like that whole horror trope where you got to get rid of the cell phone somehow.
Right.
It works. I think they did a good job of doing that.
Yeah. So anyway, like communications are down. Like we can't get pros, and like this is where Ida steps in as the leader. He's like, "All right, everyone, these groups go out and do this and stuff." And then yet again, here goes to what I was saying about some of the people that don't really get those moments get moments. Like I keep forgetting his name, but the guy with the tail. He was actually going toe to toe for a moment with the Chimera guy, and I was like, "Damn, that's impressive." And that's like probably the most impressive thing I've seen him do in this whole series.
He has a lot of time with that tail. What's his name?
Ojiro.
Yeah, and then I keep it Sero, I think it was the guy with the tape. Like he was even getting moments like taking tape like with rocks on it and throwing at him and stuff. I was like, dang. And like obviously a bunch of people were teaming up against him, and then there's like some of the other people leading the people. Like obviously they're putting the people first before the villain, so they're like escorting everyone out and stuff. Like some people are escorting, and then others are taking them on.
Well, and it was good that they split up, and you got characters like Ojiro, teaming up with some of the more primary characters, so that it wasn't, oh, here's all the primary characters all teamed up together, and oh yeah, there might be a bunch of other people somewhere else doing some stuff, like that allowed us to actually get to see those lesser used characters and give them some screen time.
Yeah, like, and then like with the mummy villain, it was like Mineta, Hagakure, I think her name was, and Pretty Boy. I forgot his name, but he's Pretty Boy.
Laser navel guy.
Laser navel.
I
Like,
cannot stop twinkling.
He was putting in a good number of work too. Oh, and that was another thing, as I mentioned, with like taking place a bit in the manga, because like I don't think I've ever seen him in the anime have his suit to where like his whole suit can fire lasers as opposed to just his belly button.
Yeah, that was an interesting upgrade that they gave him.
Yeah. Luis Murillo says, "I'm at work, so I can't join you guys tonight." That's fine.
I gotta work in like less than 7 hours.
Yeah, that's fine. This will be up on like Spotify and wherever you can find a podcast later on.
Yeah.
So don't worry, you won't be missing a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they're coming in, and then they look like they're about to get beaten, but then here comes, A-Team, Bakugo, Kirishima was? Yeah, Kirishima and Kaminari doing their thing. And then it was them. They were taking care of Chimera, and there was another group too that was taking care of the Slice person, or am I getting ahead? See, this is where I'm starting to lose track now.
Well, the class was fighting Mummy and Chimera. They were split up against the two of them.
Okay, yeah. Slice didn't
was
come in.
wrecking them on the beach.
Yeah, Slice didn't come in. Oh, one funny thing I wanted to note was that, like, Ojiro's going against the Chimera, and then he grabs him for a moment. He's like, "Do you ever blame your parents for being looking like a monster or something?" I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, considering what Chimera is, that's kind of rich coming.
It's like, is this Hunter x Hunter Chimera all over again?
Yeah, Silver Absolution says, "We're on Spotify." Yes, we are. Check it. You're on there, Silver.
I literally state in the description of this episode we're on Spotify.
Well, yeah.
What did you guys think of Chimera as a villain?
He was interesting. Like,
yeah,
as I said, all the villains were better than the last ones. Last villains were just bad group. Go stop. They have support of All for One. Go stop.
I think what worked for Chimera was, he because obviously the nature of being a Chimera, every time he seemed to pull a new, power or form effectively out, it didn't seem like it was like, oh, okay, yeah, of course he just happened to have this other one. It's like, well, yeah, he's a Chimera, of course he did.
Right, they did a good job of explaining his powers and even giving him a nice backstory to kind of help along with that as well.
Yeah. And then Mummy eventually gets a hold of Bakugo. Now it's like, oh, you gotta fight your friend, but you might have to kill him. And it's like, I've seen this before. It's like they're gonna find a way not to kill him, and then what do you know? Bakugo frees himself by sacrificing one of his grenades. And then
move, I thought.
Yeah, and then here come one of the bigger moments. The kids are running home, and then boom, their home's gone because who's there right in front of them but Nine himself? And here's where Deku comes in.
All Might Light. I'm calling him All Might. No, all for one light.
All for one light versus one for all light.
I'm calling all for one light from now on. That's Nine's new name. I don't know why I love that name so much. All for one light.
It's spelled L-I-T-E.
But obviously this was like Deku's moment to shine, and then here's this strange villain, and it's like, oh, what are you doing here? It's like, let me see the kids. It's like, I'm not letting you get to the kids. And it's like, well, you leave me no choice. And then that's where the fight begins. And then he starts to notice, yeah, this is similar to One for All. So it's like those quirks don't relate. Oh, and then here comes this other moment that kind of had me worry for a bit, and the theater worry to where like, oh, Deku tries to use 20%, but it's not getting anywhere. It's like, your quirk's interesting. I think I'll take it. And then, like, you think he's gonna take his quirk, and like, y'all know what I mean, right? Like, don't tell me your heart was not pounding during that.
Oh,
I
yeah,
did
dude.
get a little nervous during that part. Like, wait, is he gonna actually take one for all?
Right,
Turns
they did a
out
good job of
he can't.
of doing that. Right?
Yeah, and did
Aw,
you
man,
notice?
how awesome was that?
Did you guys notice he said that Deku actually has more than one quirk?
I don't think
really?
he said that.
Yes,
really?
he did. I'm positive.
I don't know.
Well,
I'll have to
and
wait for the
what I'm
release.
wondering about that is if it's more that he was able to tell that One for All was, a generational quirk. Like he could tell that because, they've told us before, it powers up, each person that inherits it adds their essence to it. So, I'm wondering if that was, he thought it was more than one quirk because it just had become more and more of a thing.
And because
That
it was
makes
each person had, I could see that and had added to it. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I love
then
seeing. Sorry, real quick. I just want to say I love seeing kind of the silhouettes of all the past people who had it.
No, yeah, you
Love
actually see their
that.
faces too. You see their
Yeah.
faces. You've never seen their faces before. Like the only one
That's
you've
really
seen was
interesting.
All Might's predecessor. You didn't see anyone before her.
Well,
Yeah, I
and
thought
one
it
of
was really
the
cool.
things I loved about that fight was, right when things are looking dire for Deku, Mahiro finally, gives in and like, all right, yeah, I've got to support the heroes. And she uses her power to create that giant, goofy-looking Deku illusion to alert everybody. I mean, I
love how the only person that really got that. I love how the only person that really got that was Bakugo, and that was it.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and then wait, but before Bakugo lays waste to the mummy dude first, like breaks out of that thing, and I forgot what he does, but he literally just grabs him by the head, throws him over a brick fence, a brick wall, and was like, die, and then boom, he's not dead, but and then Bakugo telling the others like, you guys take care of the scene, I gotta see something else, and then what do you know, Deku's about to lose, and then here comes Bakugo to save the day. And then this is where you get that first glimpse of Deku Bakugo team up. Somewhat, because they were already beaten pretty.
Steven, can you hear me?
Yeah?
Is Silver trolling?
I don't know.
Because I'm just repeating what was said in the movie. And if it was a spoiler, then Silver, technically you just spoiled it, not me. Just saying.
The multiple quirks thing, I think again, I think what he was explaining was that it's the generational thing, because that's how I took it too when I saw it as more of a thing where it's like each person is passing along, so it seems like it's really cool because
I don't think it's a spoiler. I mean didn't they explain it in season 2?
Well, I mean, we as the audience know that it's generational, but I think it was more of, somebody else, gathers that knowledge.
I guess it combines with someone else's power too, like makes your quirk stronger or whatever. I don't know.
You shut up, Silver.
But but anyway, going back to the box.
I
don't think there was anyone spoiled, and I don't feel like I was spoiled. So, and I'm the king of no spoilers. So you can, I think you can take that.
So then Bakugo shows up, and then he's trying to put a dent in this guy. This guy ain't budging. So then, and then one of the better moments is like they're both pinned down. The dudes are literally about to go to the children, and they're still grabbing him by the feet. And then he's like, you know what I mean? Like that one where they're literally on the ground and they're literally just grabbing his feet. And, like, we're going to stop you. And then he beats him again. And then the dude's about to take him. And this is where you discover the plots. Oh, he can't sustain it or something. Or like he breaks down. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and that's one of those things where, even if you don't like Bakugo because you think he's a cocky, jerk of a character, but it still speaks to the fact that, yeah, this is a kid who's trying to become a hero. Like, he might be cocky, but at the end of the day, he's got a villain right in front of him. He's not giving in unless he's dead. Like, and that goes for both him and Deku.
I low-key love that Bakugo's cocky as hell. I love it.
I mean, hey, he
he's
can
the
back it up,
Vegeta of the show. So yeah, the dude, like Nine ran his limits. Here comes Slice. He's like, we got to get you out of here, and then boom, and then there ends Act 1, the losing act, and then I really liked the scene where like they pretty much have to like take refuge in like a warehouse for the moment, and like, and you know what I mean, like that's when I also started realizing, damn, this movie got really dark and depressing. Unlike the first one, like they pretty much just had a huge L. Like the whole group had a huge L, I guess, and like they all have to like take refuge somewhere. It's like as if like a hurricane hit or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it definitely speaks to like the stakes didn't feel like, oh, we got beat up a little bit, let's regroup and do this. Like there was actual like collateral damage, between the people of the island and the kids themselves. Like it actually felt like, the shit hit the fan basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stakes were definitely higher in this movie, I feel like.
Oh yeah, very. It was like that scene where everyone's like taking refuge and they're literally pouring soup for people and they're literally supplying power. I was like, damn, this got real depressing.
Well, and it circles back around to, the kids have been being heroes up to this point by, doing odd jobs for the people of the island. Like, oh yeah, we're running a hero agency, but they weren't really doing anything. That was really the moment where they stepped up and it was like, okay, now they're doing actual like heroic things. Yeah, they might be serving food to people, but it's one of those things that kind of speaks back to us in reality as far as, you may not be doing something with a superpower, but you can be a hero to people who are in need by doing these little things.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
that was
then,
a nice message, I thought.
Yeah. So then there's Deku and Bakugo like trying to be healed, but there's like we healed their injuries, but they still got broken bones. And then this is where Mahiro steps in. Here comes the big plot, thing that the
Ooh.
guy's after. His quirk is cell activation or whatever, and then there he goes
Cool.
trying to fix their bones, and all that. And then Momo sends out an SOS drone or whatever. So that's pretty much like, oh boy, all right, the heroes. Like I originally thought when she sent that SOS, I was like, oh god, they're gonna come in at like the very end.
That's exactly what I thought too. I figured they were going to swoop in and it was going to be, I thought it was going to feel a lot like the end of the first movie, and then it was going to be like, okay, the pros are teaming up with the kids, and that was my expectation at that point.
Luckily it wasn't. Well, we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. So then this is where everyone's like pretty much deciding, okay, so like what are we going to do now? So then they want to, make a plan. But now we cut to the villains, and this is where you get the backstory of Nine. I don't know. What do y'all think of his backstory?
I mean, I don't know. It was interesting, but at the same time, like, I don't know that it's like we said earlier, he's going for this, strength, society where, the strong are the ones that rule. And I mean, so his whole thing of, getting the all for one light just seemed like a means to an end. Like, because his weather quirk, his actual quirk, just, it's one of those quirks. It's like, yeah, it's cool, but it doesn't really give him that much.
What was his motivation again behind wanting to, like, why does he want the strong to be in control?
I have no idea. That's almost every shonen villain. It's like the weak survivor, like hero society must fall or whatever.
Yeah, it's just one of those like I want to be the strongest, and then I want my society to be strong rule so that I can be in charge.
It's basically shonen. the cliche villain. I want this type of thing.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like he's like I volunteered myself for the League of Villains experiments or whatever. It's like, and they're like, why are you gonna do that? And then he's like, I forgot why, but and then there you go. So you got like now you can store 8 other quirks, and then there they go on their quest, and now here we are now, and then he's like in like some coma at the moment, and they're the villains meeting up, and blah blah blah. So now we got the villains meeting up, and then we cut back to the kids trying to figure out a plan. They were like struggling to come up with a plan too. And then the boy says, Mahiro says, "I'm just speeding through this. Like, if y'all want to say something too, like, I don't want to be the only one speaking."
Well, I mean, that's where they move. They go for the okay, let's bottleneck them and try and actually force them to come to us. And I thought it was kind of a ballsy move because it's like, yeah, you guys got your asses kicked, and now you're planning to bring them all to you, as a group. Like, you were already split up and you guys were getting your butts kicked. Now you want to bring them all at you at once. Like, that was, I mean, it was ballsy.
Yeah,
like a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out.
No, yeah, and in the beginning though, that wasn't what they were suggesting. Originally, the boy came out to him. It was like, just use me as a sacrifice. As long as the people of the island are safe, I'll sacrifice myself or whatever. And then that's where Deku steps in. He's like, yeah, no, we ain't doing that. And then that's where you see, oh, hey, he's better now. And then Bakugo comes in. Then one moment I really liked too was that Deku and Bakugo looking at each other, and then All Might started speaking. It was like, if you two can cooperate or something, like you two can work together and still compete or some crap like that. Giving them a reason to work together.
My initial thought during that scene was, oh yeah, it's coming all together.
Oh yeah. Oh, and then of course.
To me, that was kind of the same cliche shonen type thing that you get. Same thing from Dragon Ball Super, where Beerus was like, if the two of you can ever work, or I think it was Whis that said it, but if Goku and Vegeta can ever work together, you guys will be next to unstoppable. And then of course we saw in Broly when they fused. It's the same kind of thing. It's like, if you two can team up, you're going to be unstoppable. And it kind of was giving us a pointer to what we were going to get, but you got to build the stakes.
Yeah. And then of course you got to have that signature, go beyond plus ultra moment. And of course that's where my theater decided to start yelling plus ultra.
I'll tell you when my theater starts screaming. It's pretty funny.
So and then here comes Act 2. They lose again, but with a catch. They're getting ready to go into the island, and then here comes one big ambush to split them up.
And it actually worked for a while.
It's like,
well, and that's where I think we got some, the fights that we got once they did split up really gave us it gives us such a good look at, what happens when it's not a one-on-one fight. It's like, what happens when you get these guys and they can figure out a way to combine their individual powers to make something more.
Yeah, and this goes back to what I was saying about each of the classmates that normally don't get a moment start getting their moment. Like, example, Tokoyami with Dark Shadow having like this big one-on-one fight with Slice and I forgot her name, Mina, I think it was, providing support. You wouldn't, and then he gets his moment in there too.
And let's talk about that moment for a second, because it was epic. Hit with his Wolverine claws, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess was another thing that was way ahead, because I don't even think he has Wolverine claws in the anime yet.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Actually, just reminded me of something that happened in the movie that didn't happen in the simulcast. Deku being able to shoot air or something.
That was one thing I mentioned.
Yeah.
Is like
at the time that was not in the simulcast, and I was just thinking, when was Deku able to do that?
Interesting. I don't believe it happened on the Toonami.
There's a reason why I say at the time, because
you're already kind of insinuating it.
I don't know if I know if I want to say it or not.
What you're trying to imply,
Oh,
good
say it,
sir.
just say it.
Should I say it? All right. It's now.
Don't
no,
Not gonna say it. Not gonna say it.
Say it.
No,
Don't throw a
you were
man,
getting
don't
mad at me
throw
for
it,
that other thing. I'm gonna
man.
get mad at you for this.
Don't throw
No,
a man.
Silver was getting mad at me for something I didn't even do. He's the one who spoiled it, not me. He should have
I
kept
didn't
his
even
mouth
finish
They're
the
gonna
sentence,
cancel
so
us,
y'all
man.
still don't know.
Burning
Okay.
Exter says, but when are we getting that My Hero Academia live action adaptation?
Oh shit!
When
Let's not.
Netflix
Hopefully
decides
never.
to step in.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh god,
Well,
we can have like a whole discussion of who would actually be a good like live action cast for My Hero Academia, and then
Justin Bieber
and then later on
for
watch
Netflix.
Netflix completely botch it and screw it up
Exactly.
completely.
Well, okay, that could be like another discussion.
Yeah,
Although
that'll be the next
Dwayne
Watch
The
it,
Rock
like,
Johnson as
Watch
always.
a Netflix adaptation will be in friggin' Albuquerque, New Mexico, or something.
So anyway, yeah, he gets his moment there, and then I forgot who was taking care of Chimera. It was Todoroki, Froppy, Ida, and
Mineta, right?
Mineta, was it?
I think.
No,
I
no,
thought
because
was on the
Mineta,
hillside
no,
because
no,
he was helping
at,
hold back the rocks.
yeah, he was at the hill.
Mm.
It was Todoroki, Ida, Asui, and Kirishima. That's who it was.
Yeah.
So then and also this is one of the best moments of the movie too, when it was round 2 with Chimera, because that's where he really started to get serious. And one of the moments that made me go like, oh shit, when he took a cigarette in his mouth and then lit it without even taking a lighter. It was like, today I'm feeling serious, and it was like, oh boy.
Well, yeah, and that's one of those classic, like, oh yeah, I wasn't serious before, and I still wiped the floor with you, and but again, it kicked the stakes up so high, and that's what made it so good when they, the chips were down, and they're like, all right, what are we gonna do? And it was, kind of a last ditch, let's go for this and hope that it works.
Yeah. So then there's that, and then of course we got the main confrontation. It originally starts out with Uraraka, Sero, and Mineta holding against them. Like, they decided to drop a bunch of rocks on them because it's like, we're gonna make him use his quirks all a bunch so that he wears out. When he gets
because that was the key from the first fight, was they realized that if they could just keep working at him over and over, eventually he exhausted his powers to a point where he couldn't keep up. So they figured if they could just do that again, then Deku and Bakugo could hopefully come in and land the finisher. But it was at that point, Nine just seemed too hell bent on getting it going, and he'd had enough time to recover.
Yeah. So then there they go, spilling all the rocks, and it's like, oh, she's gonna throw up again because she's using her power too much, and it's like, of course she's vomiting rainbows because every anime girl vomits rainbows.
It's an unwritten anime rule. Anime girls must vomit rainbows. Anyway, Silver Absolution says, we'll get the movie right after that Hollywood Akira movie. If that ever happens.
Those aren't going to ever happen for a very long time.
Yeah, it's never. It's like at this point, it's never going to happen. But that's a whole other discussion for another day.
Yeah,
we need to do an Akira podcast.
That's not a bad idea,
right?
Well, so anyway, I'm trying to remember. Crap. This is when I'm starting to lose it again.
Oh God, he's losing it, guys. He's losing it.
Yeah, I don't remember
that's
a single
basically
thing.
That's basically when Deku and Bakugo dive back into the fight.
Oh no! Wait! Like, sorry to cut you off. And going back on what I was saying about lesser characters getting a bigger moment. This is where Sero had a big, well, not a big moment, but like an impressive moment where like he's actually, well, he's not going toe to toe with Nine, but he's dealing some impressive moves, and he actually gets hit in the face, and you think like, oh crap, he's done for, but no, like his helmet saved him and stuff, and he was actually like being serious too. And then when it looks like they're about to fall, that's when Deku and Bakugo step in.
Hold up. Silver Absolution. And the movie will be as terrible as insert forbidden live action adaptation.
M. Night Shyamalan.
What is that live adaptation, Silver? Tell me. I know you're in the comments. Say it, Silver.
Dragon Ball Evolution.
Who knows?
Good candidates.
Could it be The Last Airbender?
Oh God,
that one's bad too.
that is bad. That Last Airbender was bad beyond bad. Like, if you look up bad in a dictionary, boom, Last Airbender right there.
I spent money on that.
Silver is yelling in the chat.
I know someone who actually likes the Airbender movie, and every single time I'm like, why? It's terrible.
Hey, that's a good name for it.
Okay.
Even Air Blunder.
Also,
that's not a bad idea for a parody.
Oh, we're the Air Blenders.
Yeah, Logan, sorry for cutting you off. So you were saying earlier?
Oh, no,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, for once, I'm like the most talkative in the podcast, which is rare. Well, yet again, I'm also trying to get things moving by going scene by scene too. Yeah, Deku and Bakugo enter the fight now, and this is another moment when my theater had a squeal moment. Oh, Ochako's about to get slain, but then here comes Deku with holding her in his arms, and then there goes my whole theater freaking out, and it's like, oh boy, guys.
That's the moment in my theater. It was dead silent, and someone just yelled at the top of their lungs, "Deku!" It's like,
why?
What the hell just happened?
It's like people freaking out over that. It's like y'all ain't gonna get anything for the next 300 episodes.
Hey man, it still hit me in the feels, man. It was pretty good. I'll admit it.
Well, I think I think what's interesting at this point, is you get basically another Deku and Bakugo fight, and with 9 basically just going all out on them. If you don't pay attention to how far into the movie you are, like as far as time wise, you'd honestly expect like, okay, this is gonna be like, this is it, like they're gonna finish this and it's gonna be done. And that's where it kicks into the whole second act, failure point, because you almost don't expect it, because the movie was actually really well paced in that regard, in that you didn't have a lot of downtime where you're like, all right, can we just get on to the next thing? Like even with the slower first half, it paced itself really well to just keep things going, so you weren't constantly wondering like, when can we get to the next part? Come on.
So yeah, one of the moments I really liked was when Deku jumps in, does like I forgot what smash move was it, but he does like a smash against him, and then he blocks it with his air shield, but then Bakugo midair catches him, does like a 360, and then launches Deku back at him.
Oh yeah, that was dope.
That was actually uploaded online too, so you can see it like officially uploaded online.
Oh really? Oh,
so
cool.
So if you go to like Funimation's account or YouTube, you can find it. What was I gonna say? But we're kind of going a little ahead though, because they actually ended up finishing off Chimera, and then they went back to 9. So I guess
before we get to that, Chimera. Burning Exter says, "You know what? Dragon Ball Evolution is way worse than the Last Airbender movie," and he also says, "The best anime movies spun off from the series are always very well paced."
I don't know. Anyone remember GT? Anyway, that wasn't a spinoff though. Okay. So yeah, we're back into them dealing with the Chimera, and they seem to be holding pretty well. But then here goes the Chimera, and he's like, "This isn't even my final form." And then here goes final form, and then like, because they're all like holding him down. Like I think they were holding him down. Then like they were holding him down. And I think Todoroki was gonna freeze him. No, he ended up freezing him actually.
Oh yeah.
Then he ended up getting out. He ended up getting out, and then that's where he's like final form mode, and then like ends up looking like this freaking monstrosity who ends up firing like a giant ass laser that of course sets the whole island on fire, because you can't have an anime
freaking laser beams.
You can't have a serious moment without some fiery backgrounds.
Well, that was cool looking, wasn't it? Though. Oh man.
Yeah.
So then, no, go ahead.
Oh, real quick, I was going to say something, and I hope I'm not jumping too far ahead, but with that battle with Chimera and Todoroki, I thought something that was, I think you mentioned with the freezing part, but I thought it was cool how he was like thinking about how his dad, uses fire, and then he tried to do the same thing, but using his ice ability.
Yes,
that was really cool.
I thought that was clever.
He literally
Very
turned him
clever.
into an ice sculpture. I was like, he can't be living after that. Like, if he lives after that, like, but like, and then like the way they got to him first, he's like, I got a plan. It was like, Ada, like, you need you to do this, and then Kirishima is Shield Man. He goes like, I forgot what's the official name of that, but he goes like rock mode, like into like extra hard mode. I don't know. Like, and then it's like he takes the laser head on, and I was like, oh my god, like he literally took it head on. And he still like lived. And then
that's what I was talking about. That's what I was talking about earlier, where you really get these scenes where you're combining the strengths of various characters to pull something off. Like, it's not just Todoroki doesn't just use a fire and ice combo or something and take him out himself. Like, it was not going to be a solo mission kind of thing.
Oh yeah, and then another thing was that they actually ended up paralyzing him because Sue apparently has like a substance that can paralyze people or something. Like, I don't know if that was another move that was introduced later. Like,
so I actually missed that one.
Yeah,
I remember, but actually,
it was pretty earlier. Like, they were hitting him, and it was like, you didn't think that all our attacks were blind for no reason, right? It was like there was a reason we were hitting you over and over. I was like, because they were all covered in like the substance. And,
that's right. Yeah.
And then that's where he went final form mode. But yeah, anyway, Todoroki freezes him and makes him into an icicle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how does he live after that? So yeah, and now we get on to the big,
the moment you've been waiting for.
Well, not yet, but we're almost there.
Sort of.
Almost.
So yeah, here it comes. They're fighting him and they're going like crazy. And it's like, we got to do more. And then there goes Deku going 100%, and then Bakugo's still holding in there. And then it looks like they're about to die, but then his quirk ends up running. He gets exhausted again. And
that was one of the things I liked about 9 in that fight was, his weather quirk alone, like, to say nothing of all the extra quirks that he'd obviously inherited, his own quirk in and of itself was kind of interesting, because he had the lightning control and then that weird, Hydra type thing, the Leviathan that he was doing with the, I assume it was water because it's a weather control quirk, but it,
yeah, pretty much
in and of itself was interesting.
Pretty much it was
villain.
Yeah, pretty much it was that Act 2 moment of they lose because he ends up pulling out some ungodly, power, like every anime villain does. Oh, Ray, you think the villain is dead? Oh boy, they pull out some extra god mode, freaking level out of their butt, and now they're like an extra final boss. And yeah, he pulls out his weather quirk and he freaking starts looking like, I had a villain name in mind, but I forgot what it was. I was thinking I think it was like Doc Ock from Spider-Man. I guess with like his tentacles or like his, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's I can kind of get that impression as far as.
Another thing he had dragons. I forgot to mention that he had like these dragons coming out of his back. But that was another thing. I forgot about that.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about, like those giant, like dragon Leviathan things that he was using. That just, it was all of a sudden like kind of been, oh hey, look what else I've got. And, it definitely turned the tide again in that fight, but I think
yeah. So it had
to do something to set it up.
It's that moment where they're like, hooray, we won. Uh-oh, nope, he's God now. And then they lose again. And then, like, he's, obviously wiping the floor with them. And he's got them dangling. We're not at that moment yet, though, because they end up, Jiro and Koda, like, have a moment to where, like, he's trying to get to the kids. Oh yeah, Jesus Christ! Yet again, this is me forgetting stuff. I forgot his name, but the guy with the tentacles, like he's actually put in charge of saving the children. And this is yet again another moment where a lesser character gets a bigger moment. Like he's actually doing like a real hell of a job trying to keep the kids safe. Keeping them, and then he's literally getting massacred by Nine, like in the very end. Like he's literally like, "Don't look, kids, just run." But yeah, they ain't running; they're looking. Like that kind of moment. And then Jiro and Kaminari do a moment. Oh, that was another thing I forgot. Yet again, this was I'm forgetting stuff. This was like way early before we went in the final mode. Like they went to Nine, and then they're like, "How did you dodge the lightning?" It was like, we planned for that. We used Kaminari as a lightning bolt or as like a rod, and he absorbed all the lightning.
Yeah, then you see him sitting there looking like a complete dumbass. Like that was
Right.
that was such a great moment in the middle of of a tense scene. Like all of a sudden it's like, oh no, he's he's in dumbass mode again.
Nice comic relief there for sure.
Yeah. So then and then there he goes. Like obviously now he got rid of him and he's got the kids with her. And there was one moment where I was like thinking to myself, I can see a lot of people getting mad over this, and that's because the little girl decides to man up and leave him alone, and then he literally grabs her by the neck and starts choking her. I was like, oh my god, is this Sword Art Online? I was literally like, when I saw that in theaters, I was like telling you guys too. It's like, guys, I think there's gonna be people getting mad because it has like a Sword Art Online type moment.
But at the same time, I think, it really drove home Nine being, because you don't want to play it too safe with the villain. So it actually drove home that he's committed to this. Like he doesn't care, school children, little kids, it doesn't matter. Something stands in his way. He's not going to stop. Like it really drove that home.
I also think it really was a kind of mirrored this season's show about the idea of protecting a child and that being a hero's duty in a way.
Yeah. So then you think he's gonna get to him, and then here come Deku and Bakugo. Like they got one, they're still trying to fight him, but they fail, and then they're dangling, and then they think that they might as well give up, and then there go the kids screaming, and now. The moment that everyone's been waiting for.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking is they gotta have a way out of this. And then there goes Deku saying, I got a crazy idea. And then it's like they're reaching out, and I was like, hold on. And then all my talking about the power.
Wait, there's no.
I was like, wait, hold on. I was like, wait, hold on. I was like, I wasn't born with this power. They're explaining One for All. And I was like, oh my god, wait, they have cuts on them. They got blood on them. They're pretty much transferring DNA. I was like, are they doing this? And then I swear to God, they're reaching out for their hands. And I'm reminded of that one painting, that one old painting. I forgot the name of it, but the one where did they reach his hand out? He reaches his hand out or something.
You mean where God, I mean?
Yeah. So then they're trying their best to grab hands, and then eventually they do grab, and I was like, are they doing this? Are they doing this? And then boom, explosion, and then Line looks back, and then you see Deku and Bakugo in a shadow, and then you see the One for All lightning bolts surround them both, and I was like, oh my god. And of course that's where everyone had a freak out, and understandably so did I.
My theater was just stunned, sit there in silence. Just they couldn't believe what they were witnessing.
I know, right?
But both of them had One for All, and they and this is, and I kind of like the look that Bakugo has with One for All. You know what I mean? His design. With it,
I thought it was. I agree.
A lot of
it was dope, dude. Yeah.
Here, go ahead, boss.
How exactly did Deku transfer One for All to Bakugo because if I remember correctly, it had to be through like hair or blood or some
Open
type
cut.
of
DNA.
It was just
They
a
had-
DNA
Through the
transfer.
blood.
They
on their
had
hands,
blood.
I'm
They
assuming.
had blood on their
Yeah,
hands.
wounds.
Oh, okay. So I must have missed that part.
Yeah, so then they both got it now, and then and then a lot of people, and then I didn't make the comparison until someone said it. Bakugo just straight up looks like a Super Saiyan. He's a Super Saiyan. You
Super
think
Saiyan
about it.
Bakugo, man.
Well, and this was one of those moments where it really it drives home just the ultimate stakes because it's like it's okay.
had to do that,
We're
yeah.
completely screwed. Like we have to do something. And yeah, it ties into and this jumps ahead a touch, but it's like, yeah, okay, again, it goes back to we can't mess with the status quo too much, but I think that's where you really got the tension from the scene is like, holy crap, they're doing this. Like, are you serious? Like, what does this mean? Like, what's going to happen?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Thought.
That's my entire thought process during the part, like, how is this going to affect the rest of the series?
That's what I thought too. And another thing that you mentioned was that I remember going back and watching like the first like interviews with the creator, and he was saying that the way he was writing this movie, that like he said that it would be the last movie because he said he doesn't know how to top it. And I was like,
well, and originally
okay.
this was originally like he'd said that what he wrote for the ending of this movie was how he originally planned to end the manga.
No, he's saying that he was saying it could be an ending to the manga. That's what he said.
Well, but the whole thing is like if you look at it from that perspective, it you have to wonder like, okay, if you could have used this as an ending for the manga, what does that mean that you've got in store for the actual ending when you're ready to finish it? Because you wouldn't give up this idea if you didn't have something in your back pocket that's going to top it.
Right.
Yeah, well, we're probably not going to see that for years.
Oh, maybe not, but like that just
really
in and of itself, like it just makes you wonder, and it hypes you up for what's coming next because it's like you use this now. What are you gonna do next? Like it says a lot.
I can't wait, man. Season 5, bring it on.
So then this is when they do a Detroit smash up into the sky. And then this is where Bakugo gets his first taste of how it feels to hold One for All. As his arms are broken, he's like, well, like he never said this, but I just imagine it was like, how do you deal with this? It's
like this dude was completely beat up.
No, yeah, and that's another thing too. Some people were saying it was like obviously you can't get the power and immediately know how to use it. It was like Bakugo gets the power and he's just immediately able to use it.
I mean. Naturally get
it, yeah,
and they basically just jumped straight to 100%, which as we saw how much it screwed Deku up when he first got it.
No,
that's a huge jump.
No, not to mention that 100% freaking looks like more hella astonishing than it did in season 4 in that one episode. It's like their whole eyes are just like shattering, and it's like they straight up look like Super Saiyans.
You can ask this question because I was under my impression that he only was able to pull it off in the show because of the certain situation he was in.
Yeah, he was able to pull it off and not break his arms because
Eri
had like rewind powers. But like he's doing it in the movie, but he is breaking his body doing it.
Well, then, you have to figure that given what we saw when Deku did it earlier and used 20% and screwed himself up, it's the idea of, well, if we win, the kid can heal us up, so whatever, we've just got to go all out because it's what other option do we have?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So then they do the Detroit Smash, and then this is where you see all the budget that went into season 4.
Smash was amazing, dude.
That Smash was amazing, and then everything else that followed was just like fantasy, like
oh my god,
just
eye
like
candy,
ecstasy. Like if y'all haven't seen it, like anyone, well, yet again, why are you watching this if you haven't seen it? Like it was.
It was basically Deku versus Overhaul, or Deku versus Muscular in a way.
Times 100.
Yeah, exactly. Times 100.
And it was, and not to mention, you're seeing Bakugo with One for All 2. What can he do with One for All combined with his, power itself? And one example that I really like is that he gets stuck in a pit, and then he literally just takes his hand and melts an entire cliff. Like his hand literally just turns that rock into magma as he's literally rushing forward. I was like, oh my god. Like that has to be like some sort of ultimate move in the game if he's ever in the game.
Yeah.
And their teamwork together was really cool too.
Yeah, like
it was phenomenal.
Yeah, and I was like extremely curious because Bakugo has his, his power of explosion. How can you combine that with, obviously with One for All and make it 100 times, stronger? And I was like curious on seeing explosion combined with One for All. And what you see him melt a rock, and I forgot what else he does too, but yeah. So then, yeah, it was an animated light show, and then we can't explain it because it's literally just all over the place. So then you cut to the end of the fight, and
basically just jaw dropping. Oh my god, what the hell am I witnessing? Oh my god, type of stuff.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
dude.
and I too was thinking, how is the show gonna go on? Like, how can
exactly like when they actually beat him? First, I was happy. Then I remembered. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
and then
Deku gave Bakugo One for All.
Yeah, and then he was like, "Goodbye, One for All," and you see the same shot that happened to All Might too. There's like the flame going out. And then I was just thinking, there's gonna be some way to reverse this. I was like, there's
and
no
it's
way.
my one issue with the movie, and I'm pretty sure it's everyone else's issue.
Now, here's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Here's what I wanted versus what I got. What I wanted was for Bakugo to probably take a piece of his hair or something and just be like, take it back, I don't want it, or something like that.
That's what I was expecting.
Is that even possible?
100%.
I don't even know.
It's not, because if you remember early on when Deku was kind of having a crisis of faith with having the power, he told All Might, he's like, look, I can't handle this. This isn't who I am. Let me give you the power back. And All Might was like, no, it doesn't work like that. I can't take it back.
Oh
yeah. So it's not possible. So I'm not really sure how it could have happened.
So because then Deku wakes up. What's the first thing he sees? All Might. All the heroes have finally shown up. They showed up after the crisis this time instead of in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
So then everyone's saved, and this is where you get that real heartfelt moment to where Deku's like, I know you wanted me to have the power, but there was no other option. I gave it to Gachon and blah blah blah. And he's like, I don't blame you. What did you all think of that moment before the reverse? I should say.
It was a good moment because it really, again, it goes back to speaking about how true a hero that the kids can be. Especially both Bakugo and Deku, in that he did what he had to do. It didn't matter. Somebody was in danger, and even if it meant giving up being a hero, he was going to do whatever the hell it took to win that. No matter the cost.
And that's what All Might wanted. Yeah, and that's what All Might would have wanted him to do, I think.
Yeah, All Might said it was like, I don't blame you. You were trying to, be a hero. You were trying to do what's right and stuff. And then Deku knocks out, and then he's like, oh, look, the One for All is still inside Deku. It's like, it turns out Bakugo was unconscious before the transfer was completed. Crap. I was like, are you serious?
Yeah, this part, we have to discuss this part. We have to discuss this part.
And then he doesn't reserve.
Yeah, we have to discuss this part because a lot of people, including myself, feel like it was a bit of a cop-out.
Okay, fine. He gets One for All back, but why did you have to give him amnesia? It's like, you serious?
No, I'm talking about
the whole explanation was the whole explanation, which it goes back to the whole, like the history, the historical, holders of the powers have, left their mark on it. And it was like, oh, the previous holders, they saw the spark in Deku. They didn't want to let it go. And it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a cop out, okay, yeah, I get it, because this is what I was talking about earlier, where the movie can't change the status quo. Like, you can't go and watch the next episode of the show and be like, okay, yeah, well, yeah, it turns out, Deku lost, one for all in the movie. So, we have to go on from there. Like, I understand that the movie can't change that much, without reverting it, but it just feels like, it almost feels like they borrowed from Avatar: The Last Airbender to go back to that reference. In that, it's the same thing from Legend of Korra. Oh, she lost her bending powers. Oh, but the powers of the past avatars have, spoken to her and restored her powers because we got renewed for 3 more seasons. So we definitely can't just leave it like this. I mean, and that's the thing is, another example is a show I'm watching right now did the same thing. They're talking about, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody who's watching, so I'm not even going to mention what the show is, but before the first episode of the season and the first episode of the show even premiered, they said, we've gotten renewed for a second episode or a second season. And they got to a point in the season where the main character, they're talking about how he's got this terminal issue and he's going to die. And it's like, well, yeah, but there's no stakes there because we already know you're coming back for a second season and the show's named after him. You can't, get rid of the main character and continue your show. Like, it doesn't work that way.
Especially now if his name's in it. I mean,
so yeah, all the heroes show up, and then there was like one moment I really liked where Nine was still alive, and he's just like crawling, and then here comes Shigaraki, and then it's like, well, there can only be one successor. And then he just crumbles Nine to dust, and I thought that was really cool.
That part was cold-blooded, and I loved it. You really feel like he went from, because like you look back in season 1, and it's like, all right, just some villain, just some villain just attacking the school, trying to get his name out, whatever. But you're really seeing him evolve into like this big villain in the show. And really worthy of being the success on All for One.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I like with it, is because that's the thing is it hasn't been like a Dragon Ball or something where, we had the Saiyans, then we had Frieza, then we had Cell. Like, each arc has to introduce a new villain. Like, at the end of the day, Shigaraki is still there. Like, he's coming up to be a real major bad character.
Yeah, like I love seeing his evolution as a bad guy. I love it.
Yeah. So then that scene happens, and then we cut back to the aftermath. Of course, Bakugo was like wondering, why are my arms broken? And then, oh, he had amnesia. I was like, are you serious? I was like, okay, yeah, Deku's got one for all back, but you really got to give Bakugo amnesia.
They really didn't need that, did they? Because it could have just been like he doesn't have to talk about it again.
Plus, it would have been cool if he remembered and they talked about it, like not talk about it in the show, but maybe talk about it like at the end of the movie or something.
Well, yeah, like, because that's the thing is, we already know he's been able to keep the secret, because it even came up at one point where Deku was basically thanking him for like, thanks for not spilling the beans that I got All Might's power. So we already know that, Bakugo's, he's on the up and up. So I think, giving him amnesia, it takes away the opportunity for him to pull off, again, to tap back to Dragon Ball, where, Vegeta was like, I want a taste of that God power. It's the same kind of thing in that, Bakugo could have been like, look, I've been wanting to fight with you at your best, and now I know what your best can be like. So, now I know what I've got to strive for, and now I know what you need to be ready for so that we can make this like the real fight between the two of us.
Yeah. So, yeah. He has amnesia, and then we see
Morgan's pretty much been saying the whole time of, of not having the movie tie into the anime without drastically changing it too much.
Mhm.
So yeah, and then we get like another aftermath of the island's rebuilding, they're getting back together, and before we know it, the summer came to an end, and then they're on the cruise ship waving by. And then one moment I really liked was the kid, trying to wave by, and then Deku, was like, "You too can be a hero," just like how he had the same thing happen to him in the first episode.
That part was probably one of my favorite parts in the whole movie.
Yeah, dude, that was great.
Well, and that's where it ties the name. It ties the name of the movie into it. Heroes Rising. It's we're really seeing the kids step away from just being a bunch of high school students and really moving forward to being the next generation of heroes.
And inspiring the next generation beyond them, even.
Yeah. So then he's like, "You too can be a hero." The kid smiles, and then the movie's over. And yeah. So I guess since we're in the last stretch of this, overall thoughts now?
I loved it, honestly.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
I thought it topped the first movie by a mile. I mean,
like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
30 minutes in,
actually
it was better than the first.
Something that happened at my theater when I was at. I actually went to the last showing at my theater. There was like 10 people there. Well, the movie had ended, the credits were still rolling, so I was just sitting there seeing maybe there might be like a post credit scene or whatever, but there wasn't. But anyway, wait, I'm not done here. These two guys, people were leaving and overheard these two guys talking, and this goes to show how good the movie was. The one guy told the other guy, if you would have told me I would have cried during the My Hero Academia movie, I would have said you're stupid. And then he goes to say, especially since the first movie sucked.
I don't know about that.
That's harsh. Like I like
that's harsh. Yeah, like
the first movie was good, but it had issues.
But the first movie was good, but the Heroes Rising blew it out of the water.
Yeah. So he thought the first movie sucked, but then he cried during the second movie. So
yeah, one thing I should know.
The first movie made me cry, so I don't know. They both me, they both made me tear up.
When the movie's over, both times I saw it, my whole theater was applauding. Woo! I can't blame them. So yeah.
One of the first things I did when I got home after I saw it was hit up Sam too, saying, "Sam, we have to talk about this."
Because we were literally the first people to see it. So like Steven was freaking out. I was like, "Steven, I get you." It was like, "If you want to talk, let's talk." And then we talked about it that night.
And I mean, my reaction afterwards was I jumped in the DM because I'm on the West Coast, all the rest of you guys are back east, and so it was like you guys had seen it several hours before I did, and it was like I got in there and it was just my immediate reaction was hype.
Michael's out of West Coast too.
Oh,
yeah,
well, I'm not alone.
All right, seriously.
Yeah. So,
but you know what? Something I find interesting, real quick, is just it made $29 million so far in the box office.
Well, I should say total at this point because with the way things are now, it's probably not being played now.
True.
But I mean, when you think about
it,
what's interesting when you look at something like that is it's like 10 years ago, if we got an anime movie in theaters, it was literally like. I mean, I think even Battle of Gods was like this. It was one night for the dub, one night for the sub, and it was over. Like
pretty much. It only was
now,
a few days.
If you look at, I mean, it used to be especially it was maybe like a Wednesday and a Thursday or a Tuesday and a Wednesday because midweek at a movie theater they're not busy. You're not fighting against Hollywood movies all that much. I went to I go to the movies practically every Friday and. I was there probably 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and the theater I usually go to on a Friday night had an 8 p.m. showing for it was either the sub or the dub, I don't know, but Heroes Rising was still in theaters on a Friday night against Sonic the Hedgehog and stuff like that. And granted, this is kind of a slow time for movies. The January, February, March aren't usually big
extremely
movie months.
slow now.
Well, of course, but
Yeah.
I mean, they're usually not huge movie months.
Sure.
But even against something like Sonic that did pretty decently, to still be in theaters and be taking up an 8 p.m. showtime against actual Hollywood movies speaks a lot to where anime movies in general have come to.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and going off your point too, like the second showing I went to was on a Friday night, and I was
so was mine.
Like the second time I saw it, like it competes against all the big Hollywood movies, sold out, completely sold out.
Well, and that's the thing is it used to be that you had to do what was called four-walling, where basically Funimation or whoever would effectively rent the screen and then just sell tickets, but they got all the money from the ticket sales because they'd already paid the theater for the space. Now these theaters are doing it like a regular screening.
Yeah.
Like the theater I went to Friday was actually selling My Hero merch. I have never seen a theater do that before.
Well, that's so cool.
Wow.
Even for Dragon Ball, I've never seen a theater do that before.
I know. I mean, my movie theater only gave out Funimation Now subscription, which, by the way, they're expired.
F.
Well, like I said, I went to the last show and got my theater, so I didn't get there was nothing. They weren't doing anything at that point.
For the record,
I don't know if they were doing anything at all, to be honest.
For the record, I went to a Wednesday showing for the dub, and there was like 7 people.
No, really.
Yeah, I mean, it just it's one of those things that it varies just because you never really know.
Mm-hmm. But I think the movie was great. I think it had a lot of really exciting moments, and
I just like to state that I went into seeing the movie without seeing the trailer or none of that. So I went into the movie without knowing anything. So I think that made the experience better for me.
I'd seen some of the trailers, but not too many to be like enough to the point where I'd basically be spoiled about what happens, like Sam was. So I basically went into it almost blind. And I absolutely loved it. Absolutely adored it and loved it.
I agree.
I'll definitely say if it's true that it is the last movie for the franchise,
it's probably not going to be.
I doubt it. I agree.
Yeah,
if it were,
it could be the last.
Like if it were though, it's a solid. Granted, you only have 2 movies, but it's a solid end to the theatrical franchise for the series.
Yeah, it's one hell of a way to go out.
If they don't make another one, it's a good ending. Like I'm happy.
It could be the last movie that he makes, but it ain't the last movie that Bones is making, or I don't know what company has.
It's Bones, but if they like money, they're not gonna stop.
Yeah, like honestly, I could see another one happening just because of how successful this one was.
It's probably not gonna I don't know how they're gonna top this. You know what I mean?
It basically just turns back into the problem. What you're gonna get is like the old Dragon Ball Z movies where they didn't have it. There was no canon connection to the series, so. Even worse than what you got here, where it was like, we can't mess with the status quo. Anything that happens in that is completely non-canon.
They did mention the Yakuza, though.
Huh?
The Yakuza?
Yakuza, they did mention them.
The beginning of the movie.
Yeah, they mentioned how he got the drug, and at the time, I didn't see that episode where he got the drug.
Right.
I seen that episode before I saw the movie, so I kind of got lucky with that.
Actually,
So, anything else to say? Because it's already 12, and I gotta start in the bed.
Just bring more on, man. I can't wait to see more of My Hero, man. I just that's one of the best shows out there right now.
Honestly, what I can say is the movie was great. I'm very excited for the future of anime movies because I really feel like My Hero, this movie really opened the door for a lot more movies to come out due to how popular it was.
Well, the next one, I guess, that we'll be talking about is Demon Slayer when that comes. I know that's this
movie is going to...
hopefully it comes this year.
If it comes. I forgot about that.
That was this year that they said.
Yeah, for me, Made in Abyss was the next one that was going to be big, but who knows?
I know, I was hella bummed about that. It doesn't seem like it's going to be happening, really.
Yeah, it's like Plus, there's no theaters near me that's showing it, so I'm very pumped about that.
The thing is that it's the more well known the anime is, the higher, the theater count is. If it's a lesser known anime, you ain't gonna get that many count. Example.
When I went to Anime NYC at Sentai's industry panel, they showed the trailer for the movie. The entire room was buzzing because that trailer was incredible.
Really?
Yeah. Example. I wasted money seeing the Konosuba movie, and that was in a theater like 20 minutes away from me. And then I thought it was met, and then what do I see? But Crunchyroll announces it's going to be added. So I was like, I wasted money.
Oh,
shameless plug. Buy Konosuba Season 1 on Blu-ray from Discotech this May.
Do it.
Do it.
All right. Well,
I command you.
All right. Well,
I guess that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
All right. Thank you guys for joining another podcast. Boss, plug stuff.
Follow us on Twitter at Toonami Squad, Instagram at Toonami Squad, like us at Facebook.com/Toonami Squad Official. You can also follow us on Tumblr at ToonamiSquad.tumblr.com. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Also be sure to follow our podcast Twitter at Toonami Squad Pod. Also be sure to follow our gaming account on Twitter at TS Gaming Zone. And subscribe to our YouTube, our Gaming Zone YouTube, Toonami Squad Gaming Zone. What else? Oh, you can check out our
buy our merch.
Well, I think people are doing that right now.
Oh yeah, I said I was gonna give you something for that. Shit, I should probably work on that. Well, not now. I should be ahead by now.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess.
All right. All right, boss. Where can they find you?
Find me on Twitter at JUB_70056.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at Esther05. You can follow my backup at Toonami Ultra. You can also follow my Twitch, also at Toonami Ultra.
You can follow me on Twitter at Samster299 and Instagram at AirBreather479, I think it was.
You can find me on Twitter at Schmollis1.
And you can follow me on Twitter at NubGuy, and you can check out my indie comic publishing company at Wicked Publishing. That's WIKID. And you can check out some of the cool comics that we have coming out over there.
And I'm the guy at the corner who's running the Toonami Squad Gaming Zone, which you can follow me on Twitter. Phantom Star 64, before I run out of breath. I know, right? Twitch.tv/fanstar_production is where I normally stream my streams for the Toonami Squad Gaming Zone, which we're streaming Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Hooray, I love Doom Eternal.
While we're doing the podcast?
What was it?
Are you streaming while we're doing the podcast?
No, because it's still not available on my system yet.
Okay.
Fair enough.
But I think I changed it to. I'm going to change the time to noon to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for my stream. We're playing Animal Crossing New Horizons on Moltar Island.
Yeah, so we should try to check that out.
And is that it?
No, and
everyone.
And there's going to be a Final Fantasy demo video on my channel and on the Gaming Zone channel.
We'll also be planning another regular
Gaming Zone.
We'll let you know when we're going to do that.
Yeah, this was as you could tell, my idea to do an entire podcast discussing My Hero. I originally wanted to do this way back when Endgame came out because everyone was talking Endgame, but no one saw it within reasonable time, and it just kind of fell off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
you and I were the only one. game
We should do
anyway.
that one.
Who knows? Maybe the next time we do another podcast like this is for the Demon Slayer movie.
Maybe.
You know that
right.
that
Whenever that
idea for the
happens.
that idea for the Akira one could be cool too, with it being the anniversary this year.
Yeah, that's actually not a. I think we should. I honestly think we should do that. We'll discuss that later.
Nice.
Eric,
All right.
All right. So that should wrap it up, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank
All
you
right.
guys for
Thank you guys
coming out.
for coming out. We appreciate everyone who. I got it. Thank you for everyone who came out. We appreciate you guys for coming out. Thank you guys for listening to us ramble for now 110 minutes. See you on Saturday for Toonami. Stay gold.
Play
Ultra.
Animal Crossing
And stay
I
safe
gotta
out there.
work at Walmart.
or Dune, but play Animal Crossing.
Bye.